In this episode, I'm going to cover running and debugging the GXT Explorer examples. So I'll start off by cloning the Git repo to get going. Then I'll import the application into Eclipse. After that, I'll run and debug the Explorer examples application in Eclipse. So to get going, I'm going to go to the docs for GXT. And this is docs.sencha.com, GXT 4.x. And the latest version of this video is 403. And you can see there's several examples you could try out. And I'm going to try out the Examples Explorer today. You could click on the links and see it right on the web here. Or I'm going to click on the source. And this will take me to the GitHub. And what I could do is fork this first. But I'm not going to fork it here in this demo today, or this tutorial today. What I want to do is just copy the URL and copy it to my hard drive and clone it. So I'm going to go to my console or terminal on the Mac. It's going to be different. You're going to have Git installed to do this. So I've already got Git installed. So what I want to do is I'm just going to go to my home directory. Which directory I'm in? PWD. I'm in my downloads temp. And so this is a Mac. It's going to look a little bit different on Windows. So what I'm going to do is go git clone. And you could use your IDE to do this as well. And I'm going to do the command line in this tutorial. So I'm going to go paste and clone this repo. So what I'll do is take a moment and clone it. So now let's look at the file manager. I'll open up the file manager and look at the downloads. And we're looking at GXT. So I put it in the temp GXT Demo Explorer, and it has a palm, and that's the directions on how to run the build for this application. So what I want to do next is load up Eclipse, and I've already got it open, so I'm going to go to Eclipse. And what I want to do is right click and go import. And once I choose import, I've already have it expanded because I've imported a project before, but let's say I didn't. I'm going to type in Maven, and I'm looking for existing Maven projects. So I'm going to select existing Maven projects next, and then navigate to the directory that I imported it into. So that'll be downloads, temp, GXT Demo Explorer, and then I'm going to open that. So it's a little bit out of boundary there. So I'm going to click on open. And this will then just let me know, hey, the palm is good to go, and I can import it. So I'm going to hit finish. And once I click finish, it will import it. It'll take a moment. Importing Maven projects, 98% done. So I might as well expand this and show you the project layout. Here's the palm, the definition that gives Maven the build instructions on what to do. And this gives Eclipse build instructions on what to do as well. So I'm going to expand source main Java where the source is at, and we'll do a click gander at the source. So it's under client, and all the examples are under client. Now this is fantastic. In previous versions, it was built with SDK. Well, in 403, it was extracted so you can run it as an individual application and try it out. So this means you can test and build test cases and do different things before you actually integrate it into your application. So let me look at the grid, for instance. There are several grid examples in here. Looking at the page grid example, and if I minimize the bottom view, I can see more in this demo. So in this, we have an annotation which gives the application some instructions on what to do with it. I'm not going to cover this in this tutorial. Feel free to ask me more about the details in the comments below. So it's simply an entry point with an is widget, which means is widget is an as widget, which is their interfaces. And entry point would be on module load. So the application just picks this up and renders this configuration onto the DOM. Okay, so how do I debug it? So the next step is I'm going to right click on the GXT or the root of the project in Eclipse. I haven't ran it before, so I need to do this the first time. And so I'm going to click on debug as quit development mode with Jetty, and that will run a Jetty web server locally. So I'll do this the first time. It will create a shortcut. I'm going to select the page I want to start with. Because you can start with different themes, but index is the one I'm after, so I'm going to click OK. The next time I could come up here to the bug icon or the bug button and click on this and then simply go to index HTML. So now that it's doing the initial compile, it takes a little bit longer. And let me move the view to the bottom. And I can see that it's doing the initial compile, which may take a little bit longer the first time. The second time, if I change something and I refresh the page, the incremental compile is going to be much faster. And that's fantastic for iterating through application development. It's giving me a little bit of output there. So what I want to do is right click on it. But let me just right click on this and go open with debug. So I can do this the first time. So it opens a empty or standalone Chrome with SDBG Chrome JS debugger, so I could link Eclipse and breakpoints. I'm not going to cover that in detail in this episode. I've done that in previous episodes. So I'm going to open that. Next time I'll just double click there. So let me just resize it so it fits correctly in the window here. And so now it's doing the initial compile. And so this will load up quite quickly. And let me just make it a little bit smaller so I can see the output in Eclipse behind the window. And you can see that the deferred binding picked up these properties and is compiling for that permutation. It only compiles one permutation for super dev mode, and it compiles in pretty mode. So that way you can easily debug it when you're inspecting the source or DOM. Okay, once it says source maps are enabled, so that's great. So I can see what Java looks like in Chrome as well. So here we go. I'm going to expand button aligning. So this is pretty cool. One of the things that I haven't done yet is if I click on source, well, the source isn't available because what I have to do here to get the source is basically run the packaging mechanism in Maven to build the source. So I can go debug as Maven install. I won't cover that in this episode because you can see this on the online version from the docs, but you could go simply Maven install. It will take some time to build it. The installs take longer because the example explorers have a lot of permutations that it compiles. And in this case, I just want to go back to the web page. So if I go back and I look at a different example, you can see area chart. Let me just expand this so we can get a little bit better idea of what's going on. There's some new examples that have been added in this round in GXT 403. For instance, there's some new categories like animation, and you can look at HTML, which has material icons, which is pretty cool because you can click on a material icon and you can see another widget, which is the menu. So that's pretty cool. So web font, yeah, and we can show you how you could load web fonts and use them in your GXT application. Well, that's it for this tutorial. I wanted to show how to load up and import the GXT Explorer examples so you can test run and look at what's going on with the Explorer examples and get a feel for how you could use the widgets and widgets and components for your application development. Thanks for watching today. Follow me for more tips and tricks on GXT, and I'll catch you later.